The Little Ant and the Great Big Flood. Once upon a time, in a bustling anthill in the middle of a vast forest, there lived a tiny ant named Andy. Andy was the smallest ant in his colony, but he was also the most hard-working. Every day, Andy would carry food back to the anthill, never complaining about the size of the load or the distance he had to travel. One sunny day, as Andy was out collecting food, he noticed dark clouds gathering in the sky. The wind began to pick up and the first drops of rain started to fall. The other ants quickly retreated to the safety of their anthill, but Andy was far from home. As the rain began to pour, Andy hurriedly picked up a large crumb of bread he had found and started back toward the anthill. But the rain was relentless, and soon a great big flood began to form, washing through the forest. The water quickly rose, and Andy found himself trapped on a small leaf floating in the middle of the flood. The leaf bobbed up and down in the rushing water, carrying Andy far from the anthill. Andy was scared, but he held on tight to the crumb and the leaf, not willing to give up. Meanwhile, the other ants in the colony noticed that Andy was missing. They knew that he was brave and hardworking, but they also knew he was very small. Worried for his safety, the ants gathered at the entrance of the anthill, hoping that Andy would find his way back. As the floodwaters continued to rise, Andy's leaf floated near a tall tree. He spotted a branch that was just within reach, and using all his strength, he jumped from the leaf to the branch, still clutching the crumb. Andy slowly made his way up the tree to a higher branch, away from the rising water. From his perch, Andy could see the flood starting to recede. After what felt like hours, the rain finally stopped, and the water began to drain away, leaving the forest muddy but safe. With the flood over, Andy climbed down the tree and started the long journey back to the anthill. When Andy finally arrived, wet and tired but still holding the crumb, the other ants cheered. They were amazed that such a small ant had managed to survive the great flood and return home with food. "Andy, how did you do it?" one of the ants asked. Andy smiled and said, "I knew that giving up wouldn't get me home. I just kept going no matter how tough it got." The other ants realized that it wasn't size or strength that mattered, but determination and perseverance. Moral of the story: no matter how small you are, never give up in the face of challenges. Determination and perseverance can help you overcome any obstacle.